Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for watching this video. This is a new old thing that we're doing, trying to just record some conversations we're having about BOMA, about what we're doing, just to keep everybody in the loop. And today it's me, Krisjan, Hiner, Jana, obviously, and Kelly Schnebly of Colliers. Ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
So obviously right now, today is what, January 14th, and we are hot and heavy into planning and getting the symposium figured out. So let's talk about that, because I don't know, that's really kind of what we're doing right now here at BOMA, Idaho. So what you said you had a big day today, Jana. What's popping today?
Yeah, I did. Well, we were able to get everybody confirmed for one of the panels, and it just has worked out to where we have these two great panels that are going to have discussions for the symposium. One of them are all the developers, and we've got some great people on that one. But the one I want to talk about for a few minutes is the State of Commercial Real Estate panel. Kelly's been helping me with that, and we've been working together on getting people to commit to coming in to speak on that panel. So right now we have 4 panelists, and we're sort of talking about getting a moderator for that panel, or if we maybe should just have someone from that panel be the moderator. But really the whole point of this panel discussion is to allow people into the conversations that brokers and property managers and even risk managers would be, what they would be talking about. So Kelly, let's talk about this for a minute. We wanted someone from Cushman & Wakefield to come and talk about retail. And I think the reason we wanted someone to, well, we always like talking about retail, right? But it's so interesting this year what has happened to it in the past 12 months. So talk about that for a second and what you hope comes out of that panel discussion in the retail conversation. What are we hoping for?
Yeah, well, I mean, as we've been kind of building this panel and talking about who should be involved, we've really wanted to focus on, the areas that have seen like dramatic change. And, there's a lot of uncertainty everywhere. But retail has been one of those areas where, there's been so much change over the last several years. And the pandemic really just accelerated that and has changed how people do business and how they shop and how they eat and where they go. And so I think it's...
Or don't go.
I work in retail, but...
Or don't go, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But I think it's, there's so many interesting things and so many, tenants that are being really creative. It's not just a story of doom and gloom. There's a lot of optimistic, positive notes as well.
Well, there's a lot of reinventing, right? There's a lot of people who are reinventing how they market and how they sell their products. And I walked through the mall the other day. I have to admit, I have not been there in a very long time. And, mostly last year for very specific reason that we just weren't going out and doing that. But even before that, I found my trips being limited. They were fewer and further between than when I used to have littler kids and needed to, I think, frequent some of those kids stores and other things. And so in the last probably month or two, I went in there and I was shocked the first time I went in to see so many people, so many stores gone, right, that I used to go to. And this time it was more like, we're opening the doors, you have to go up and down to access specific stores, because they'll either have their upper door open or their lower door open, but they don't have both at this point. So maybe everybody already knows that, but for me, that was...
I did not know that. No, it's been probably a year since I've been to the mall.
Yeah.
Maybe
well,
more.
At Christmas, you had to wait in line to get into the stores.
I had to wait in line. So I wanted to go into Sephora. I had to wait in line. And by the time I probably waited in line for 20 minutes, because it's a small store. But, and then they didn't have what I needed, so I just got out of line anyway. But I was able to tell me that. They're really good about having people there communicating with you. But even the Apple store, it used to be just this open area where you just walk in and
everyone's hanging out.
And now it's all closed off. And there's, those windows in there that you have to go to and specific things you have to do. So I was just really surprised. I mean, they don't open the doors till 11 now, which is later than we're used to, between the bigger stores and the mall. I don't know if the stores in the mall open any earlier than that, but, and so anyway, I just thought it was interesting, and that's just a tip, right? That's just a touch of some of the changes I noticed in 1 second at the mall. So retail, yeah, really an important piece of that conversation. Let's talk about Amanda Snowy Holiday. I love her name. I would totally hyphenate my last name if it were Snowy Holiday.
It's the best.
So she's from Colliers, and I want you to talk a little bit about, I know that we've sort of narrowed down, and I have all these little notes here, and we've sort of narrowed down what we wanted to talk about as far as building operations, tenant collections, that kind of thing. But if you can just touch on, what you hope to hear, what are the drives going to be in her conversation?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm really excited to bring this kind of new perspective to this state of the market panel. Because we typically just kind of focus on the brokerage side of it. And I think Amanda can bring, a really interesting perspective in a couple ways. One, that she's dealing with all different property types. So she's seeing them all and seeing how each are doing compared to each other. But then also, she brings a little bit of that landlord perspective and how landlords, are dealing with this and working with tenants, which tenants are struggling and which tenants, never missed a beat, because some of them didn't. And then I think when you get into, especially office, you see just such a drastic change in occupancy in the building and how you operate the building. Are you putting new rules in place? Are you changing what you're doing with the HVAC? There's so many different aspects, just kind of specifically in that market type, that I think are really interesting. And, we're all kind of sitting here waiting to see what that'll turn into and, what the long-term future is.
Yeah, exactly. I think, we're talking about some of these things, and it's important for our people and our attendees to understand that we're not just going to talk about doom and gloom at this, or what we've gone through over the past year, because we've done a lot of that over the last year, right? So looking forward, I think it's interesting some of the things that have taken place, and changes that have taken place that we're going to continue to use.
Yeah.
Things that are now normal, that have become, it's just normal to walk in and stand in line to get into a store, or it's normal to have your temperature taken at the door, or, some of these things I think are going to be around for a while, and not everything, but yesterday I went and toured a job site, ESI's job site down at Carty. I'm saying that right. That's the new residential project there on 5th and Myrtle.
Oh yeah.
And we went up in the building and everything, and they walked us through all their safety measures. But what I thought was interesting, aside from talking about how they've dealt with COVID over the last year during construction, it was also about, hey, we've implemented some of these things on our job site, and we'll keep them because they're good. These are good safety measures and a good way to keep track of the health and safety of our teams that are on site, of our vendors. So, and that's also going to be one of our workshops that we're going to highlight. ESI is doing lessons learned constructing during COVID, and we're going to have that be part of that. So that'll be a great tour and just something interesting. But I think as property managers and doing building operations, some of those things that are changed, including upgrading and changing the HVAC systems and how they work, those are expensive, long-term things that hopefully will improve the overall health of our buildings. And
exactly.
So we have to think about it. We have to think about it that way. And we're looking for, lessons learned and value, and what are we taking away from this that's going to improve, what we have in the future. So I'm glad that Amanda's going to be part of that and touch on overall just all property types. Okay, so I want to talk about Devin Pierce for a minute from TOK. He's going to be talking about industrial and also office. And you brought up office when you were talking just now, and I think that climate has totally changed with how many people are allowed in an office, or according to the policies and procedures of a specific company, or building capacity or whatever it is, or the phase that we're in as a state or city, phase, state, whatever, any of that stuff. So I think that's going to be great for him to talk about some of that, but he's also an industrial guy. And the industrial sector right now is like, I mean, now I have to say, BOMA International has been talking about this for years. For probably four or 5 years, they've been saying industrial. And I kept telling the board, hey, you guys, industrial. And you guys were like, whatever, we don't, industrial. And now look at it. Look at it. Like in the last 2 or 3 years, actually, even in the last 12 months. Just absolutely exploding and projects everywhere. And it's exciting, right? And they're getting filled as soon as they get built, which is even better, right? That there's that much demand for that type of space. So we're excited for Devin to kind of talk about that and the trends going into this year. Kind of, that's one of those industries, like you said, Kelly, that they just kept going, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was already hot, and just the change in retail has really driven even more growth in industrial.
Yeah, which is so
we
interesting.
Need more everything.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the last person on that panel I want to talk about, I just confirmed today, and I'm totally excited about it. It's David Tucker with Allied Universal, and his company actually appeared on a video call that I had with all the people that do what I do across the country, all the association executives and executive directors of BOMA. And someone on their national level came and spoke to us and gave us a big packet, an electronic packet on assessing risk in your buildings, especially during times of civil unrest, and kind of trying to predict some of those happenings and what building owners, managers, property managers, tenants were doing in those specific cities that were expecting some of the civil unrest. And when they were talking about that, I found it so interesting that I immediately, like back in October, November, reached out to David and I said, hey, we want to hear from you on this. We've got to put something together. We need to hear about this because, you know, last year at the symposium, we were all oblivious to the fact that just a few weeks later, our world was going to totally change. Right. And this was that honestly, I was like so grateful that we got that event in and that we were able to talk about the things and be together as an organization. And we got our orientation done with all those members that wanted to be on committees and do those different things. And then everything stopped. And I was like, oh, phew, you know, we got our stuff in and we're going to have our golf tournament in September. This will all be a thing of the past. And we'll just,
we'll have it figured out by spring.
Gosh, you know, we'll just be on our way. And you know what? Now we're having to learn the lesson that a lot of people had to learn a year ago of how to really shift and put on a large virtual event, which, you know, people have been doing it now for a year. So I guess we are lucky in the fact that we're coming in when people are used to it. They're used to the protocols and how to do it. But David has been working in this stuff day and night for a year. And the risk assessment, not only through the pandemic, but through the election, through, you know, all of that, the civil unrest stuff. So I think he's going to bring such a unique perspective to that panel and be able to talk about some of those things that, you know, when you talk about building security, people aren't always that interested, but now they are, right? Mm-hmm. That has come to, and when they talked about giving, this is what really caught my attention back in October, November, when they said, okay, if you're going to board up your building if you're going to predict there's going to be civil unrest in your city, and you're going to predict that your building could be a potential target. So we're going to get in there and we are going to, and this is Allied talking, we're going to work with an emergency preparedness company. We're going to come in and board up your building, and it's going to cost you $65,000. But if you don't board up your building, if you take a chance and then it is, you know, damaged in some way, and we have to come in and do the repairs, doing the repairs and then boarding it up is going to be twice that.
Sure.
It was, you know, and you just think about it like, okay, so building owners are facing questions and assessments that maybe they've done on a different scale, but not quite to this level. Would you guys agree with that?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have him, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, that's gonna be really interesting. I'm excited for that.
So I think it's something that as we go into 21 and beyond, people are really going to have to start. This is going to be, you know, the normal thing that you, when you're looking through a lease agreement, right, Kelly? They're going to say, well, what do you have in the way of risk management or security?
Yeah.
In your lease agreement. I don't know. Is that something that seems like it's going to be more on the forefront for you?
I think so. I think it really depends on location. You know, I was working with a tenant who was looking for a space near the mall, you know, and just kind of your average type of strip center, you know, and he asked when we were meeting there one time with the property manager, oh, well, you know, do you have security? And they were like, well, no. We were telling, you know, then these folks were from Southern California and, you know, obviously are coming from a different experience than fortunately what we have here. But I could see, you know, if you were in downtown Boise, you know, there's activity and protester activity down there that I could definitely see being, you know, concerned about something like that, or at least just being prepared. You know, you don't have to think it's likely to be prepared for the chance that it does happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm anxious to hear more, and his conversation between him and Amanda talking about, you know, the building operations and then talking about what he has to say, I think will be interesting. So Absolutely. We're still kind of putting the final touches on that board as far as getting a moderator for that one. But I'm just hopeful that it'll be as interesting as I think it will. So going through, so that's been my busy day. Krisjan, that was your question initially. I've had a busy day.
It was, yeah.
Really, Kelly and I started going back and forth on text a couple of days ago, like, oh my gosh, we gotta really make sure we have this nailed down and we look through this carefully and make sure that it's done, right? And so I've lost a little bit of sleep. I was a set of eyeballs last night, just waiting for some of the confirmations to come in, because I heard, we're confirming, but I just wanted to, once you have that kind of set, then you feel a lot better. So, and I'm excited about, we had a meeting today. Megan, my logistics person, had a meeting with Blueprint Specialties with Will over there and his team. And they looked about the box, you know, that we're planning on. They looked at the kind of the size and shape that we want to do. We're going to be giving these boxes away to all people who are attending this event locally. And so we're trying to kind of plan how many we think that'll be, and how many folks will come pick those up. And we were talking about the magazine today too, so that's coming together. But the box is going to be way cool. We have some fun things planned to put in there for people. I'll give you maybe 3 examples of things. Like, let's see, I don't want to give too much away. There could be a deck of cards in your box. There could be something sweet in your box. And there could be, I don't even know. I don't even know what that can be.
So many cool things.
Okay, hold on. Can we pause recording? I have a teenager with a question in here.
I think so.
Oh my. Okay.
And we're back.
And we're back. Quick little break there. Commercial break. Just kidding. So let's talk about, we had a meeting today with Blueprint Specialties with Will over there. And we were talking with him and his team about the boxes that we're going to be giving away to people. So the day before the event on the 17th, we're going to be out, rain or shine, I should say snow or shine.
Snow or rain, we'll be there.
We're going to be out and about a couple of different locations, 10 Mile Crossing for sure. And then we're working on a downtown Boise-ish, downtown-ish location for people to drive in or walk up or whatever and grab these boxes. So inside the boxes, we have lots of vendors who are throwing things in there for our members. We're going to have the magazine, of course, and then people who are outside the area will be just sending that to them electronically. And then we're going to have some treats in there. And it's just some conference, some fun stuff, some swag. from a lot of our vendors that want to participate in that, and just something special for people who are around here locally who can come and pick those up. So we're going to have a good time doing that. I will give no hints as to what is in the boxes because it will be a total surprise and it will be like Christmas morning. No, I'm just kidding. Only for a conference. So yeah, we're excited about that. And Blueprint Specialties is doing some really cool stuff. They have some new capabilities over there to be able to print on all sides of the boxes. So when you fold them together, it has a nice marketing pattern there for us. So just the little details, right? These little details that this has given us an opportunity to put together, and our members and associates around the Valley pitching in to help. So we've got a lot of people who are willing to step up and do that. And then there's the trade show along with that, we've got some vendors out there. AAA Roofing is a brand new member, and they are sponsoring our kickoff event along with HC Company and Blueprint Specialties. So those three companies are really working together to try and provide some cool stuff that we're going to have out there. I know Cutting Edge is going to be out there too, and a few others. I think Idaho Power is going to be out there. We're just going to make it as fun and interactive as possible. So, and then we've already talked about that first workshop with ESI. They're putting together some cool stuff on just walking us around a job site and talking about changes through construction. And then they have an in-studio part that they're going to be doing with us as well. And then we've talked about the panels briefly, and we'll get back to those, but I want to talk about the commercial breaks for a second. Because this could be fun.
It hopefully will be, yeah.
Yeah, we're encouraging our members to have some fun in shooting those commercials. And just, I've heard some feedback from people who are already out there shooting their commercials and they're excited to go do it. So I'm hoping we get some advertising for them, some recognition for their support and their sponsorship of the event, but also some fun, a little bit of fun in those. So we can just have a good time doing that. And the other couple of major things that are going to be part of the event is the urban renewal update from CCDC, and we're shooting that next week. So we'll be able to talk more about that later and just kind of what the focus is for that, and where the hot spots are that in the districts that CCDC is really working on. And then Idaho Power has put together a cool video talking about energy efficiency, and they're highlighting one project in particular that I know everybody knows about, and they're going to love hearing about the inner workings of the energy efficiency on that one project. So anyway, we're just we're plugging along, right? Just doing our thing, trying to make this event great, and hopefully our members and attendees will find value in it. I'm going to put Kelly on the spot here for a second. Okay. So when we had the initial meeting we had two of them. First, we had the Symposium committee that met together, and you guys were both there. And then we had the reception, kind of that sponsor reception, where we got all the sponsors, the major sponsors from last year's event, people who had already committed. This is back in the end of October, first part of November, we started with this. Right after the board said, hey, we're going to have to just commit to either doing this live or virtual, and we really feel like we should go virtual. So amazing that the board was, just made that decision, that we're able to go along with that, especially with where things stand right now. So Kelly, during that reception, somebody brought up having this event be free for everyone. I want you to talk about that a little bit and talk about why it's such a big deal.
Yeah, well, it was Melanie, our marketing director, that brought that up. And part of that was based on our experience with doing the Colliers Outlook Conference, which we usually do, in person at Boise Center every October. And we had to make the decision last year to do it virtual. And, I think it went off really well. But one of the opportunities, that we really appreciated with that was being able to invite people across the country. Where it would usually be maybe local clients and local partners that are mostly coming. We invited every single Colliers office in the country, and a lot of them joined and were able to learn about the Boise market. And that, we just saw that as such a great opportunity. And I think it is for the symposium as well. Not just for maybe further away members in Idaho that are members of BOMA Idaho, but for people all over the place that maybe want to see what we're doing, or other BOMA locals that can learn from, what an awesome event we put on every year.
Well, we do invite the locals in the Pacific Northwest region, which there's 10 locals in our region. And they came here a year ago, September, for the Pacific Northwest Regional Conference, which may very well end up being the last one that happens in person, because this virtual thing has become so popular, gathering people from all locations. But everybody has been invited to attend our symposium, and they've always, in fact, a few have come over the years, and they've always been amazed at how many people we get to attend this locally. Upwards of 500, 600 people. At one point, probably 2007, we had 750 people attend the event. That was probably the largest one that we've ever done. And after that, it sort of pared down a little bit. Now it's been built back up just because of the recession. But then it's been built back up to where we're upwards of 500-600 people again. And I'm assuming that we'll have all those people on our virtual event, and then maybe plus some, because we've invited all of the region people to come. And some of them are registering for it. It's a free event. It doesn't cost anything for them to travel. They can see what we're doing. And not only that, but they have members who have properties or investments here in this area. And so they're interested in kind of the climate and what's happening and what we're talking about here. So that, that I think that it was right on the money as far as like, gosh, what can we do for this event to make it appealing, obviously, to people, and having a free event would be really appealing. But what really blew me away is after we had that conversation, we had 30 people on that call, and they were all major sponsors of this event in the past. Everybody has stepped up and pitched in money for that to be able to do that. So we had a budget item for ticket sales that went away, and so we had to make up for that. And we've had some incredible. Fidelity National Title just came in as a sponsor for the ticket sales. Cutting Edge came in. Oppenheimer put in some money. Condoc put in some money. Lee and Associates threw in some money for that because they saw the value in what we're doing. And so I just thank you to Colliers, and thank you for having such a great event. That in October I attended that, and it was awesome. And I loved seeing how it could be done. I've attended a lot of those, but that one was really, really well done. So I appreciated just being able to know, we can do this because it's been done and we'll survive. We will survive it, right? One more thing, Krisjan, that I wanted to talk about before we have to go, and that's our website, our webpage.
Sure. Yeah.
Stack Rock Group. Krisjan has put in so much time on making sure that people can find this event and register simply. I mean, you just have no idea how many hours went in. So if you could talk about that. I mean, I know you don't like to talk about all that you do, but if you could talk about that for a minute and just tell us kind of, what went into that and how it was put together, that would be awesome.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for this year, we completely sort of re-envisioned this page on the BOMA Idaho website of, really how it's going to look and how it's going to function. And yeah, it's been some time for sure, just, setting it up and, editing all the images and just getting stuff in and making it, look right and balance and, function. But I'm pretty darn happy with it. I think it looks really good. It's great seeing all the sponsors on there for sure. Just the participation that we have, even though, this event is totally different than what it has been. And, we at this point, we still don't even know exactly what it's going to be. We have a pretty good idea, but we're still, trying to figure this out. And to have this many sponsors, this many people already excited about it and getting involved, I think is a testament to BOMA Idaho and the value that we do provide. So I'm super, super excited about it.
Yeah, and the company put in so much time on this that, and has done so, with our social media and everything else, just as a board member. Krisjan has just added so much value to this site and to our branding, to the image, and to information sharing with people.
Sure. Well, and just as an organization, I just know how important it is to be able to do this stuff in-house and not have to, call the website people or the marketing people and have stuff done and then check it and, 2 weeks later get it done or whatever. And it's just so much easier for all of us this way. So, how many hours have we spent on a call like this, like as we're literally building the website, like on a phone call like this, just figuring it out as we go and just making sure it looks right.
Lots of hours. All my kids know Krisjan.
Right.
They're like, hey,
they at least know my voice at this point. Yeah.
They do. That's probably why my teenager came in and interrupted us a little while
right.
ago.
It's only that dude. Yeah. He's not doing anything important. Yeah. But there's still, every time, just like anything, it's never done. Every time I'm looking at it right now and there's, I see some stuff that I want to kind of fix or whatever, but yeah, I'm super happy with how it looks. I mean, and like I said, having all those sponsors on there is really, really cool.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this right now, go there. Go to bomaidaho.org/2021 Symposium, or just go to our website and click on Symposium. Because as you scroll down on the right, all those sponsors, we just are really so thankful. Our platinum sponsors that stepped in, Ball Ventures, Alquist, BVA Development, and Trevor on our board. ESI, Anita, who's on our board, Zions Bank and West Jost. We've had such a great partnership with them, meeting at the 8th and Main building for so long.
For a long time.
Idaho Power. And then also just working with Boise Center. They've been a platinum sponsor in the past. Obviously, we're not meeting at their facility this year, but they built a studio in their facility where we are going to go and have all of these workshops and stuff as we are able to offer this out to people. So it'll be kind of an as live event, and we're going to record all of this at their studios there that they've built over the past year to accommodate this. I have another question for Krisjan.
Sure.
Do you ever see us going back to just having a live event and nothing else again?
No. I don't see that at all. I feel like doing it, and it's funny because we've talked about doing events this way where there's the in-person component and the live component where I'm stuck in my office in Meridian and I can't make the luncheon or whatever, but I still want to see the program and see what's going on. We talked about doing that and we sort of half-assed it at best a few times trying to do it, but now I don't see any way to do an event without it anymore. I don't. Once we can get back together, we'll always be doing it this way for sure. Which is really good. I mean, it's more inclusive. It just makes it more accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about it.
For the wider reach, the wider audience.
Absolutely.
I know Colliers, you guys have offices in Twin Falls, Idaho Falls. That you want to, TOK has offices in Eastern Idaho that want to be involved in this event, and so it just makes sense to have this be accessible to those people. And I want to point out that, yes, we've talked about doing it this way for a long time. We've even, a few months before this, we had your cameras set up, we were streaming live, that kind of thing. But I do want to point out that it was not as easy to do it as it is now. Not everybody was used to it. There wasn't a platform where everybody was kind of used to going. And I'm sure there was, we just weren't accustomed to saying, okay, Zoom.
We'd never had to figure it out.
We just never had to. It's forced us to. I've done this event now. Oh, I don't even want to tell you how many years. At the first one that I planned, Hunter, who just walked in a little bit ago, he's getting ready to graduate. He was a newborn. He was 3 weeks old at the first event that I did. And he was under the registration table down at the Boise Center because he was only 3 weeks old. He couldn't be apart from me for that many hours. And now he's getting ready to graduate from high school. So, and this is the first time that I've had to change the core of what we've done, right? We've changed themes or changed approaches, changed topics, changed formats.
Change the format a little bit, yeah.
But as far as turning this event on its ear, completely reinventing things, and I was very intimidated. This is the first, and so thank you to both of you for helping bring the ideas, the people, the panelists, the electronic backup for us, the digital, platform to be able to put it out on to all of our members and attendees. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, talking about value, I think the value that all these sponsors will get, and the panel speakers and everybody that's involved, the value I feel like goes up tenfold, because instead of before it being this one thing where if you weren't there, you missed everything, you didn't get to see the logos, you might get hold of the magazine at some point, but for the most part, it only existed for that, 3 or 4 hours in that one morning. Mm-hmm. And now, this will live on YouTube and everywhere else forever. And so, so I think the value that it brings to like I said, the sponsors and everybody else involved, I think is so much greater than it was before.
I agree.
Yeah, we are going to offer this through social media links and everything else. The little segments that we've talked about, those are all going to be, in pieces, so you can just get what you want. It's going to be set up so that people, if they don't want to go to the first workshop, if they want to hit the second one and they want to listen to the general session with the panel discussions and everything, that they can do that. So I just think that, having the graphics even backing all of this up, having our sponsors be really part of the whole thing like that, I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, it's going to be a new experience.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I'm really excited about, and I probably shouldn't even say it, but
I'm knocking on wood right now.
it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm just excited about it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm very excited.
Okay, now I'm worried. Krisjan is our MC, so now I'm genuinely worried. No, I'm just
Unless you want to do it, Kelly.
You're good.
Kelly's going to have to step up and do the president's role next year.
That's right.
So for the next 2, so buckle up.
Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get to do it for like 4.
I heard we're accepting nominations for vice president, so.
We are, nominations are open. It was funny at the board meeting the other day, we were talking about that. I'm like, oh my God, we don't have anybody like in the queue to kind of do that. So I'm glad we're working on that now.
We have a lot now.
Good.
Have you had some stuff come in?
And
good. Nice.
I would say it's weighing heavily toward one person. So hopefully that
interesting.
Person is a willing participant.
Ooh, I hope so. Ooh, I can't wait to hear who it is.
Kind of
you're only partially willing, so.
In the board email, I said, hey, as a board, you have to nominate somebody who's already an existing member of the board. And so self-nominations are welcome.
Right.
Because then I know you actually want to do it. And hopefully like a self-nomination will match up to somebody else nominating them.
Exactly.
So I'm hoping that we have such a great board.
We do.
We really do. We have such fantastic people and just great leaders in the community. And I think that, when we look at the theme for this year, a light in the industry, I think our people really are a light in the industry.
Absolutely.
And you guys, you really get out there and you really make it happen. And so that's, all in all, we want to really focus on that too, our people and being leaders, in our industry. So I'm just, that's maybe a subject for another day, because I could talk on and on about that.
And at some point we will.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much for taking time. I know you have things around to be with us today, and I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Exciting.
Well, thanks, ladies. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.